So from guiding sheets, we are moving towards guiding catheters now, and I'll call Mr. Ujjwal again to talk let him give us an idea about his Fargo series, why the Max, why the Mini, and all this. So he will be able to enlighten us as to what goes into the designing concept of guiding catheters. Over to you, Mr. Ujjwal. Thank you so much.
So while I wait for that, another question that came up was on the most of the hydrophilic coating. I can talk about what the hydrophilic coating that we use. The hydrophilic coatings are mostly hydrogels, so they instantly absorb. They are hydrophilic, right? So they instantly absorb water and become hydrogel. So that's where it's an instant, but it is always recommended that before you use these catheters that have hydrophilic coating, they have either a damp like gauze, wet it, or just do a little bit. Without that, you could be just damaging the coating, because the coating is dry and you don't want to manipulate too much. Not that there is a lot, but it's just when it is gel, it becomes very easy. Okay. Once again, I'll start with just the indication for the Fargo guiding catheters. They are intended to facilitate the introduction of microcatheters for therapeutic and diagnostic use. This is a snapshot of the IFU. So Fargo is offered in 3 different sizes. So I just wanted to take this as a system. All 3 sizes are developed on the same platform, and when I say a platform, it means that typically a guide catheter, guide sheath, they are made out of the innermost layer, which is a lubricious PTFE layer, and then they have some sort of reinforcement structure. As we talked in earlier slides, it is either a braid or a coil reinforcement structure, and then the jacket material. So when I say platform, it means that it is using the same braided platform. That's why we call it a Fargo platform, guide catheter platform. Fargo Mini is basically an ID of 1.02 millimeter, 3.1 French OD. It was basically designed for a triaxial technique to provide high support for lesions remote anatomy. So basically, a triaxial support would be a Fargo, a 6 French sheath, a Fargo Mini, and then 10 microcatheter system, which is then used for delivery of liquid embolic or for any coiling procedures. Again, this was designed to act as a system, and as you can see, there is a Fargo Max, Fargo Mini, and a Vasco 21. So this product was developed at a time when we had a silk platform and we were using that. So it was developed to create the stability for those type of distal anatomic procedures. Fargo was an intermediate catheter. It was mostly designed for going up to into past where the sheath, 6 French sheath wouldn't go. This is many years ago when people were not taking the 8 French sheath, 6 French sheaths anywhere close to petrous or horizontal petrous. But this was designed to such that you could get the stability into the cavernous and into closer to the ophthalmic, where you get a very good stable system when you are deploying a pipe or cases, more like pipe or flow diverter cases. And one thing you guys could all appreciate is that delivering those versus delivering a liquid embolic or delivering a coil was very different. The delivery forces were very high. There was a lot of kickback. And so this was designed to give a support which could go a little further into the cavernous to provide you the stability. And then Fargo Max was just a 070 ID catheter, standard guide catheter that wouldn't go as far as 58 Fargo, but then it would become a nice pairing between Fargo Max, Fargo Mini. And so it was designed to deliver flow diversion therapy, if you will, or stent-assisted coiling therapies. From a design standpoint, this is a Fargo catheters were mainly a braided reinforcement structure. I told about catheters are either designed with a coiled platform, a hybrid coil braid platform, and then or a braided or just braid alone platform. There are advantages and disadvantages to all of these constructions. As I said, coiling helps with the kink resistance and stuff. There is, but braiding helps with the support and the pushability and torqueability of the catheters. We could also use a stainless steel versus nitinol braids. This is uses a stainless steel braid. One of the unique things that was very first catheter where we did was we transitioned the braiding pattern. So the reason we were able to get the distal flexibility, what we got was by designing a catheter where proximally you can accommodate lesser number of diamonds, if you will, per inches, whereas distally your braid angles become very high and your density increases, thereby giving you the, as you know, like flow diverter is a braid, right? But look at it, it doesn't kink easily. So that's because it is very dense and the braid angles are different. So that's how we were managing the braiding of this kind of catheters. It's again multi-durometer polymer jacket, full length PTFE for lubricity, and then distal marker, which is a standard for 1 millimeter distal marker band for visibility. One of the things that is unique was that we made a Fargo and Fargo Mini as a tapered catheter. So proximally they were slightly bigger than distal section. Again, the idea was to get the, as you go smaller in sizes, the column strength is lower, so you can get the snaking. So beefing up the proximal ends while getting the distal end smaller was the idea for Fargo Mini and Fargo. Features and benefits. Fargo Max, as you can, the way you read it is basically, the intent is that this is Fargo Max, this is Fargo, and this is Fargo Mini. So we have tried to put a lot in this slide. So again, these three catheters were mostly designed to be a triaxial technique setup, Fargo Max, Fargo Mini, and a micro catheter which had a OD of less than 3 French. All this platform I did talk about, this platform was a braided platform. So that is, when these catheters were first designed, there were not many braided catheters, small size. This were one of the first ones. We did have a hydrophilic coating on distal part, and it varies for different catheters. The design idea behind this is that you want the coating, hydrophilic coating, to be only so long where it is actually interacting with the vessels. If it is inside the sheath, there is already a lubricious layer inside the sheath or any other catheter. So you are not necessarily requiring a lot of lubricity there. But because if you have too long of a, why not have a lubricious coating through the whole length? Then when you're operating handling those catheters, it could become very slippery, and also the particulate generation could be higher. So it's just a balancing of like how much hydrophilic coating is. Those are the criteria that we use as designers. One of the things we have given in this one is, and I'll go to the next slide, we have a soft and supple distal parts, and there is a 2.5 centimeter, 8 and 15, and in the next slide I'll show you which sizes have what. We have a tip with a shape 45-degree angle for gentle access, and then radio pick marker band. These are the ID, ODs, and the lengths. As you can see, I mentioned earlier, the ODs approximately is 6 French, just like this, but the distal ID of Fargo is 4.9, and here approximately 4.2 and 3.9 French. Again, the design intent is to give the proximal stability and distal flexibility. Here is the Fargos. You can see that the Fargo we have, did I go 2 slides or 1? Okay, no, yeah, here is where I should be. So Fargo Max has the extra supple part of 8 centimeter on all the total lengths. For Fargo Mini, as you can see, we have a 2.5 centimeter and a 15 centimeter. And this was by design, because this is meant to, like, where you are going more distal and longer lengths, we wanted to have more suppleness in the catheter to go as far as you can, versus a shorter 120 centimeter. And then this is the Fargo where 8 centimeter was there, And this is again the same concept of like for a longer length, a longer supple part. That is, you're just imagine like this is a taller patient, so it is not just that his proximal anatomy is longer, right? His distal anatomy is also longer. So the concept is that, hey, you proportionately increase the whole thing. This is just showing some images of like Fargo and publication. As you can see that they are going that they're trying to go with a marathon. So far distal, here you have this is a lateral projection of a mini, and this is a sheet. Same thing here, you have a mini here. The actual deployment happened here, but this gives a lot of stability to the whole system versus having that inside the directly inside the sheet. Guess that is all I had for that one. So, if there are any questions, we can try to answer.
Thanks a lot for that session on Fargo. So, when you talk about a triaxial system, you talk only about a Fargo Max and a Fargo Mini along with it, right? And
3 French, any catheter that is 3 French OD or less. So, like a 10 catheter, SL10, echelon 10.
So, when the intention of Fargo Mini was to, probably reach as distally as possible, the probable other catheter systems that come under this DAC category were slightly lengthier than Fargo Mini. Anything on that? Meaning, could you actually enter into the M1, M2 segments with the Fargo Mini well?
I think like generally you can, right? If the system allows you to. At that time, we had a unique ID for Fargo because we had a VASPO 21.
Okay.
So we wanted to make sure that the compatibility is there. And then from the length perspective, again, the intent was not to take this. There was something inside of it that is going to be stable, and we don't want to traumatize that vessel to take this one too far into that. Again, the design intent at that time was based on that. Now you can see the 3 Frenches taking much farther as the technology is even improving. But at that time, it was paired with a smaller 3 French catheter.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there any questions? Thank you.
We confirm. So it's 21. Let me confirm. I don't remember top of my head.
No, because you said you wrote 21. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Now that you say that, let me confirm it again.
So about the Fargo Mini, I noticed that the tip is a bit stiffer than it should be for such a small catheter. Has it been kept so deliberately, or it has a shape to it, right? There is a slight shape to it, and that shape is a bit stiff.
Like one of the ways to do anytime you are adding this shape or something, you have to heat set that thing. And so the more heat the polymer gets, it starts to become, so it's a balance between that. But also Fargo construction is very uniquely a braided construction. In the braided construction, as you can imagine, has more metallic mass in the construction, and with the design intent being as an intermediate to support that, the desire was not that this is going alone to go with it. We do acknowledge that there is the stiffness that we feel that could be.
Yeah, sometimes I feel that that stiffness should not have been there, because then it causes spasm as we try to go more and more distally.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I can. Thank you so much, Mr. Ujjwal.